YouTube, what's up? It's your boy Anthem Barber coming back at you with another haircut tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be doing a simple but dope kids cut in style. Alright, so at the beginning of every cut, I like to brush or comb out my client's hair. Shout out to Steel Tooth Combs for this dope comb. Now that I got everything combed out, I'm going to begin to separate the top from the bottom, meaning I'm going to separate the hair that I don't want to cut from the hair that I do want to cut. Now that I got everything separated, I'm going to come in with my Wahl #1 color guard with the lever open, and I'm going to begin to set my first guideline. I'm going about, I'd say, right about mid with this. I wouldn't necessarily call it a fade, but I'm going right about mid with the blend, and I'm using my comb kind of as like I'm using it as a guide to guide me, if that makes sense. But anyways, yeah, so I'm just going to be very consistent, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap this around his whole head evenly. Now that I got everything cleaned up with the one guard with the lever open, I'm now going to close my lever, and I'm going to start from the bottom, and I'm going to go all the way to where I just left off with the 1.5 open. Meaning I'm going to go ahead and blend out everything right below that, and when I get towards the top of that guide that I just set, I'm not going to go all the way to it. So now that I got that all set, I'm going to come through and I'm going to jump right into some clipper over comb. And when I use clipper over comb, I like to come in with my Wahl magic clip, but with my lever open. I feel like it's a little more forgiving, and if you make a mistake, it's not too hard to come back from. So what I'm doing right here is I'm just placing my comb directly flat on his head, and I'm directing it straight up. So I place the comb on his head, and then I flip my comb outwards, so the bottom portion of my comb is touching his scalp, and the top portion of my comb is going directly straight up because I'm trying to retain that box shape to his head. So now I'm going to come through with my Wahl #2 premium guard with my lever open, and I'm going to place the guard directly on his head. And if you could pay attention close to the screen right now, you could see that my guard is placed on his head, but I'm going directly up. I'm not going in because, once again, I'm trying to retain that box shape to his head. So once I clean everything up with the lever open, I'll now close my lever and begin to clean up right underneath where I just left off with it open. So now I'm going to come through with my Wahl 1.5 premium guard with the lever open, and I'm going to begin to clean up right underneath where I just left off with that 2 closed. Once I clean up with the lever open, just like the previous guide, then I'm going to close my lever and go right up to where I just left off with the 1.5 open. Come back through with my Wahl #1 color guard with the lever open, and if you remember, that's how we initially set the first guide. And all I'm doing right here is just trying to ensure that I'm giving them a smooth, clean transition from that 1 closed to the 2.5 we just did. So now I'm going to come in with my Wahl magic clip with the original fade blades with the lever closed. And what I'm doing right here is I'm gonna start a little low taper on him. I come in with the lever closed. Once that initial little guide set, I'm gonna open my lever like you just seen. I'm gonna go up a little bit more. Once that's clean, I'm gonna reopen my lever a little bit more, and I'm gonna go up just a little bit more, and I'm gonna continue to do that until my lever is completely open. Come in with my Wahl half guard with my lever open, and I'm just connecting that no guard lever open to the one guard closed using my half guard. So I'll come in with the lever open, and then I'll just begin to close it and fade downwards until those two guides connect. Now that I got his side and back taper done, I'm going to come through with my ANDIS T outliner, and I'm going to clean up the back taper. So right here, all I'm doing is trying to stay very consistent, not pushing anything back, keeping everything very natural but sharp at the same time. My client has somewhat sensitive skin, so I'm not going to clean it up with the shaver. So it's really important that I keep his line natural but sharp. Right here, I'm wetting his hair and I'm getting it ready to prep for clipper over comb. I'm gonna connect that one guard lever open into the top of that hair right there, and then I'll clean up with all the same steps that I just did on the other side, blending from that 1 to that 2.5 open and doing the side taper. Now that I got everything consistent on both sides of the cut, I'm going to begin to pull back his front hair, use some duck clips to hold it in place. I'm going to apply some quick dry holding spray, and this is just going to help me because you could clearly see that he still has a lot of baby hair in the front. So by me applying the hold spray, it's going to hold all those hairs in place and allow me to give them a nice clean lineup. So now that everything is held in place, I'm going to begin his lineup by starting in the middle of his head. Typically, I'll start at the weakest point, but in this case, there's not one, so I'm going to start directly in the center of his head and work my way evenly on both sides. This is a kid, and I won't be applying a razor to his lineup, so I need to keep in mind that I'm trying to keep everything natural without pushing anything back, but keeping it sharp at the same time. So now I'm going to take some product, apply it to his hair, and begin to style. And this is pretty much it for this tutorial. So if you got anything useful off this, I ask that you smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, I hope that you subscribe, stick around. It's only going to get doper from here. I appreciate all y'all. Be blessed and be a blessing. I'm out.
Feeling like the man, this shit going how I plan, ayy. Yeah, I've been stacking up the bands, counting shit up in advance, yeah. Voices in my head said I could do better, but Big Sean just told me to stick to the plan. Flows through out, I'ma need me a fan. Working non-stop, you can see in my hands.